Hello, one great Earth. My name is Dan. Currently have this pulled up from AP News from Trenton, Michigan. Explosive turns part of shuttered power plant into dust and rubble. I wonder if they meant for that size explosion. Wow. You can see where the hoses are here. Looks like they probably needed some more hoses. This is huge. There had to have been a lot of secondary explosions. This is okay. That was from Trenton, Michigan, apnews.com. Trenton, Michigan. DTE Energy released this video. Now for what we have in store for today is related a lot to H5N1 bird flu. Here's why raw milk drinkers need to be concerned about bird flu in United States dairy cows. I don't know if you've ever seen the raw milk. Sales of raw milk appear to be on the rise despite years of warning about the health risk of drinking the unpasteurized products and an outbreak of bird flu in dairy cows. Between late March, when the bird flu virus was confirmed in U.S. cattle for the first time, and mid-May, weekly sales of raw cow's milk have ticked up 21% to as much as 65% compared to the same periods a year ago, according to the market research firm Nielsen IQ. That runs counter to advice from the Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which calls raw milk one of the riskiest foods people can consume. Raw milk can be contaminated with harmful germs that can make you very sick, the CDC says on the website. Dozens of herds in 9 states are known to have cows infected with the virus known as type A H5N1, federal officials said. The virus has been found in high levels in the raw milk of infected cows. Viral remnants have been found in samples of milk sold in grocery stores, but the FDA said those products are safe to consume because pasteurization has confirmed to kill the virus. It is not yet known whether live virus can be transmitted to people who consume milk that hasn't been heat treated. The CDC officials warn that people who drink raw milk could theoretically become infected if the bird flu virus comes in contact with receptors in the nose, mouth, and throat, or by inhaling virus into the lungs. There's also concern that if more people are exposed to the virus, it could mutate to spread more easily in people. States have widely varying regulations regarding raw milk, with some allowing retail sales in stores and others allowing sale only at farms. Some states allow so-called cow shares, where people pay for milk from designated animals, and some allow consumption only by farm owners, employees, or non-paying guests. The Nielsen IQ figures include grocery stores and other retail outlets. They show that raw milk products account for a small fraction of overall dairy sales. About 4,100 units of raw cow milk, and about 43,000 units of raw milk cheese were sold the week of May 5th, for instance, according to the Nielsen IQ. That compares with the 66.5 million units of pasteurized cow's milk and about 62 million units of pasteurized cheese. That is a huge difference. Wow. Still, testimonies to raw milk are trending on social media sites of people that want you to die. And Mark McAfee, owner of Raw Farm USA in Fresno, California, says he can't keep his unpasteurized products in stock. People are seeking raw milk like crazy, he said, noting that no bird flu has been detected in his herds or in California. Anything that the FDA tells their customers to do, they do the opposite. The surge surprises Donald Schaefer, a Rutgers University food science professor who calls the trend absolutely stunning. Food safety experts like me are simply left shaking their heads, he said. From 1998 to 2018, the CDC documented more than 200 illness outbreaks traced to raw milk, which sickened more than 2,600 people and hospitalized more than 225. Raw milk is far more likely than pasteurized milk to cause illness and hospitalizations linked to dangerous bacteria such as Campylobacter, Listeria, Salmonella, and E. coli, research shows. Before milk standards were adopted in 1924, about 25% of foodborne illness in the U.S. were related to dairy consumption, said Alex O'Brien, Safety and Quality Coordinator for the Center for Dairy Research. Now, dairy products account for about 1% of such illnesses, he said. I liken drinking raw milk to playing Russian roulette, O'Brien said. The more times people consume it, the greater chance they'll get sick, he added. Despite the risks, about 4.4 U.S. adults, nearly 11 million people, report they drink raw milk at least once a year. $11 million people report they drink raw milk at least once a year in the United States. And about 1% say they consume it each week, according to a 2022 FDA study. Bonnie Gilly, 75 of Fresno, said she has raised generations of her family on raw milk and unpasteurized cream and butter because she believes it's so healthy and lacks additives. Reports of bird flu in dairy cattle have not made her think twice about drinking raw milk, Gilly said. If anything, it is accelerating my thoughts about raw milk, she said, partly because she doesn't trust government officials. Such views are part of a larger problem of government mistrust and a rejection of expertise, said Matthew Mota, who studies health misinformation at Boston University. It's not that people are stupid or ignorant, or that they don't know what the science is. They're motivated to reject it on the basis of partisanship, their political ideology, their religion, or their cultural values. CDC and FDA officials didn't respond to questions about rising popularity of raw milk. Mota suggested that agencies should push back with social media posts extolling the health effects of pasteurized milk. Communicators need to make an effort to understand why people consume raw milk and try to meet them where they are. To be very concerned about drinking raw milk during a multi-state H5N1 cattle outbreak, throughout cattle in the United States. Highly infectious bird flu is putting dairies at risk. Here's how we plan to stop it. It's an opinion piece from Agricultural Secretary Tom Vilsack. The more we learn about H5N1, this is from the IdahoStatesman.com as well. The more we learn about H5N1, the more we understand that good biosecurity is a critically important path to containing the virus. Containing and eliminating the virus in our dairy cattle is essential. To protect the health of our herds and flocks, our farmers, our farm workers, our families, and the rural economy they make possible. The past winter, a group of migrating wild birds infected with H5N1 transferred the virus to dairy cattle somewhere in the Texas Panhandle region. This was the first reported case in dairy cattle. Cows that were shipped from the Panhandle spread the disease to other parts of the country, and now H5N1, the same strain of highly pathogenic avian influenza found in wild birds and poultry flocks, has been found in 115 dairy herds in 12 states. Again, that is 115 dairy herds in 12 states. H5N1 has been discovered. H5N1 is highly pathogenic in birds, meaning birds that get the virus get very sick very quickly and almost die as a result. This virus has been at the top of the list for the risk of global pandemics for years. It has circulated among birds and other species. USDA has been working with poultry and egg producers for a decade to manage the virus, and it is a disease that our scientists understand well. For poultry farmers, depopulating affected flocks, disinfecting their poultry houses, barns, and equipment, and improving their biosecurity practices has helped control the spread of the disease while keeping people safe. Sadly, migrating birds bring H5N1 with them, so there will likely always be a threat of the disease for our poultry farmers. H5N1 behaves very differently in cattle. Dairy cows that get H5N1 often have a sudden drop in milk production, go off feed, and generally do not feel well. They also secrete, instead of cow milk, it's like a sticky yellow substance that is instead of the cow milk. So how do you know that you're not drinking this tainted milk if it's being sold? But unlike birds, sick cows do not typically die from the virus and typically recover after a few weeks and return to a full milk production. Thus, USDA is making different recommendations to dairy farmers to help them test for and manage the disease in dairy cattle. These recommendations were designed with input from experts including dairy producers, veterinarians, state officials, and USDA researchers. Data shows that the movement of cows shipped from the Texas Panhandle region was initially responsible for the spread of H5N1 to different states. So data shows the movement of cows shipped from the Texas Panhandle region was initially responsible for the spread of H5N1 to different states. So USDA put in place a federal order, a type of temporary requirement, that directs all dairy farmers to test their lactating cows before moving them across state lines. The federal order has led to more producers testing their cows, more specifically for pre-movement to raise assurances, which has the added benefit of providing information so producers and veterinarians can take quick action to limit the impact of the disease and help us better understand its spread. As producers do more testing, we expect to continue to detect additional dairy herds infected with the virus. This is what USDA expected and is an indication that the system is working as designed. As producers, USDA scientists and veterinarians looked carefully at H5N1, including through detailed epidemiological analysis. We learned that the H5N1 virus concentrates in the udder of sick cows and in the cow's milk, which can contain high loads of the virus. That means even just a small splash of milk can spread the disease. We learned that the H5N1 virus concentrates in the udder of sick cows and in the cow's milk, which can contain high loads of the virus. This means even just a small splash of milk can spread the disease. We also came to understand that the disease likely spread between dairies in a community through normal business operations such as the movement of people unintentionally on items like clothing or shoes, vehicles, and equipment coming and going on a farm. These findings indicate that improved biosecurity is the key to limiting the spread of H5N1 to keep animals, workers, and farm operations safe. Biosecurity is a set of practices that can help to limit or prevent the spread of virus or disease among animals, as well as people, plants, and more. In this instance, enhanced biosecurity can include practices such as thoroughly cleaning and disinfecting parlors, equipment, clothing, and vehicles, separating sick cows, and limiting movement of cattle, wearing and disinfecting personal protective equipment, and limiting traffic onto the farm. USDA has many ways to support producers, including the ability to help producers pay for enhanced biosecurity plans, free H5N1 testing for dairy cattle, free shipping to send test samples to the lab, free veterinarian costs, free personal protective equipment, and more. Moreover, for producers that have H5N1 in their herd, USDA intends to introduce a program for the Emergency Assistance for Livestock Honeybees and Farm-Raised Fish program, better known as ELAP, that is being developed to compensate eligible producers with positive herds who experience loss of milk production. By statute, ELAP is authorized to pay eligible producers 90% of the value of losses. The program would pay an amount per cow for a set period of time. Additionally, for producers who want to help contain the disease and reduce the burden on their operations, USDA recently announced a voluntary H5N1 dairy herd status program. At the same time, USDA continues to work closely with our federal partners at CDC and FDA in the interest of protecting the health of farm workers and farmers and reaffirming the safety of the food supply. We are taking animal health and human health concerns seriously through a whole of government response. While the risk to human health remains low, we know that continued transmission among dairy cows can increase concerns that the virus may adapt to be more susceptible via mammal-to-mammal spread and increase the risk to humans. Studies have confirmed that our food safety system is working well and that America's food supply remains among the safest in the world. USDA scientists are also working with partners to develop a cattle-specific H5N1 vaccine, an important tool to eventually help to eliminate the virus from the nation's dairy cattle herd, but that process requires many steps and will take time. The most important step we can take today is biosecurity. I am calling on producers to use our resources to enhance their biosecurity measures and states and producers to opt in to our support programs and herd monitoring programs, which are designed to limit the spread of the disease in dairy cattle. Farmers are going to lead the charge, but they won't need to do it alone. USDA is here to support them every day, and we will continue to do all we can to protect animal and human health. I am confident with the right tools and the hardworking spirit of America's farmers and farm workers, together we can get it done. So it looks like the movement of cattle, the sale of cattle, the normal business operations are causing the outbreak more than it is that birds are flying around farms. More likely that patient zero of cattle was the one from Texas, the panhandle, that spread it between other states. Because that cattle is in a box with other cattle that are going different places too, and they all get sick, and it takes time for the cattle to notice. And if it just exists in the udder, and only whenever milking the cow does it seem abnormal, then it might have taken some time to really see this happening all across the country. And you see how fast this happens, how quickly this can change, and why drinking raw milk equates to a maximum load of H5N1. It's not worth it. It really is not worth it. I don't believe I know anybody that drinks raw milk. It would be a shame to know somebody like does something just so insane, like drinking raw milk. What we see with cats happening to around farms, cats go blind, they die these slow deaths. Do not drink raw bovine milk, dairy. Do not consume raw dairy products. I think that's easier to say. Do not consume raw dairy products, at least in the near future, because of right now, it's too much that's being tested positive between how many states they're testing and how many dairy cattle herds are testing positive. And it's not just a few. It's like bird flu and avian, like chicken farms. It spreads between the entire livestock quickly. If the cows are going to get sick from it, and this is targeting them more rapidly, and the people that milk the cows or have to deal with the raw milk products themselves, are they taking precautions? Just having the milk on their skin and inhaling it can cause the virus. Gabon detects first case of bird flu since 2022. This is from Reuters, Paris, June 21st. Gabon has reported an outbreak of highly pathogenic H5N1 avian influenza, commonly called bird flu, for the first time since 2022 at a poultry market in the capital, Libreville. The World Organization for Animal Health, WHO, said on Friday, the H5N1 strain of bird flu has killed or caused the culling of hundreds of millions of poultry globally in recent years, and has increasingly been spreading to mammals, including cows, in the United States. The virus was detected in samples taken at the Mount Boé poultry market in Libreville as part of an epidemiological surveillance for avian influenza, the report submitted by Gabonese authorities to the Paris-based WHO said. It noted that the samples identified as positive have been taken on birds from untraced farms, making trace back to the virus source impossible. More countries, more bird flu positive cases. If you haven't already, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely and keeps me motivated in putting out climate-related videos like this. I also have a Patreon now. Since my content is too shocking for YouTube to monetize, I made a Patreon. I would like to give a shout out to Sarah, Ashley, and Mashan. 3 names that are people to sign up. Thank you very much. There's also a free tier membership that you can sign up for as well on One Great Earth's Patreon. That is patreon.com/OneGreatEarth. The link is also in the description of the channel of this video. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Please take care. And maybe avoid raw milk.